also got tear gassed a little bit. So I had to figure out what to do about that. I actually called the lady. They have a service where they have like a nurse on dial. And by then it's too late and they're like tear gassing. They're like launching tear gas grenades and stuff, whatever.
See that? You don't like seeing those, do you? Those are not good.
I don't think it ends well for a lot of people. So somebody once told me when I was first, like, I was getting a tour of the university when I first came here, and somebody's like, oh, you know,
If I could give one piece of advice, I'd do the
because
same.
then it's going to force me to have a good sleep schedule. It's going to force me to sleep early, even when I'm like, when there's no one to force me to go to sleep at a reasonable time.
Welcome back to the Thomas Botea podcast, everybody. In today's episode at 13, I'm joined with a good friend, Mikael Kizilbash. We will be talking about all the important things you need to know as a university student going into moving in by yourself, what that's like firsthand from someone who's experienced it, all the lessons you need to learn, and above, managing your time. We're going to hear some fun stories, and it's going to be a great time. Make sure to stick to the end to learn all of this and to see the mystery at the end on top of the mystery that I typically do. Yeah, make sure to stick to the end to learn all of these great things from Mikael, who's a great student living on campus. So he's living on campus in a foreign city, you could say. So he was really the expert on this. So he truly has the expertise to talk on this topic. So make sure to stick to the end, because otherwise, I truly believe you'll be wasting out on some valuable lessons. And if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to comment down below, and I read all of them. Happy to check what you guys have to say. Make sure to sub and all that like comment stuff. But let's get into the conversation. Everyone, grab your water or your beverage of your choice. I don't know why I did that. My cup's empty. But yeah, Mikael, how's it going? I am recording now too.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
I'm swell as a bell, Great day. What can I
12 is a bell.
Yeah, great day. What can I complain for? Woke up another day. Got air in my lungs. You can't see it, but my cat's just on my bed right now, just staring at me. It's really cute.
Bro, I love cats. I love cats. You shouldn't have distracted me. That's actually going to... Okay. I love cats, bro. Okay. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, so, let's go ahead and get right into it. So, you are living by yourself, correct?
Yes. Although not on campus. Actually, I'm further away from campus. I'm like...
Oh, wow.
I live off campus about half an hour away.
Oh, on campus? Okay, so, yeah, we'll get into the transportation if you guys stick around. What I want to get into now is, I remember you mentioned that it was really a reality shock and perspective shift when you had to start cooking for yourself. Like, what's that been like for you? Can you share some experiences? What do you think people should know transitioning to cooking for themselves?
Yeah, cooking and cleaning and doing all of the chores have been like... it's been like... I don't know. You kind of realize how much time it takes to do all the stuff in the background, because when you're a
Yeah.
kid, like, you have some parent that's doing at least some of it all the time. Honestly, cooking is the one that's the most difficult, and the urge not to, or just open Uber Eats or something and
Yeah.
spend way too much money just ordering food. But it's been good just because it's a skill you learn, right? Like, and it's a good opportunity to learn something that's actually pretty useful in life. But you end up like finding a few recipes that you can kind of stick with. Like
For
for
sure.
me, like there's a few recipes that I always go to.
Mhm.
And like once you kind of figure those out, like recipes that you personally feel comfortable with, I think like you kind of have it good to go for cooking.
Yeah.
But cleaning never gets like
How do
never
you
get used to that, I think.
yeah, how do you, like you say you now have these set recipes that you go to? How did you discover those? Did you ask your parents? Do you go online? Like, how do you find
Parents.
recipes? Parents?
Parents, bro. Parents are goaded for this. They've already been doing this for like however many years.
Yeah.
Just take from them what they're good at and like what they think is easy and they think you could make.
Hmm.
And especially if it's cuisine that you're used to, right? Like if it's like
Oh
you're
yeah,
from
for sure.
someplace you have, right? So like I'm Pakistani, I had like some Pakistani food. I'm already kind of used to how that's made, right? Like
Yeah.
and how it should taste, right?
Hmm.
So I've just been doing like some of that has been stuff that I've made regular, um, and I think it's like it's nice. It's nice to have some food that you're like used to when you're at home. I know a lot of uni students, you know, like the stereotypical uni diet of like noodles and pasta, and
Yeah.
they have their place. They have their place. Sometimes you don't have time to cook. Like I don't know. I get it now,
Hmm.
because you're busy. Because it is really busy and it takes time to cook. Um,
Would you recommend
but
meal planning to anyone?
yeah, meal planning is definitely the way to go. You want to have it planned out because you normally have a plan of what your week's looking like, right? So if you already know what your week is looking like, you can kind of prep in advance when I have even time to cook,
Hmm.
and you can pre-plan it from there. Although a mistake I made early on was I meal prepped too much.
Hmm.
So like when I first got here, I did like for example, I made like biryani, right? And
Hmm.
I meal prepped a gigantic portion of it, like a week's worth, like literally like 12 straight meals, right? That's not a good idea because then
Yeah.
it's gonna start going bad. It turns out who would have get it's gonna go
Yeah.
bad if you don't eat it quickly. So then you're seeing it, you're like, oh shoot, I have to eat it, and then you're just eating the same thing again and again every day,
Hmm.
which is a mistake. So I would not recommend that. I would recommend planning out the meal prep more reasonably um, throughout the week,
So
through
what
like
time
smaller
frame
batches.
then? Just 1 week?
1 week's too much to do one
Oh
meal
wow.
for. I would do throughout the week, like if you do every something you're prepping every few days, right?
Hmm.
Or maybe you prep two meals one day and that lasts you for. I think if you make a meal that lasts for about 5 6 meals, four, 5 6 meals, right? When you
Hmm.
prep it, that's a pretty good lot. Like that's already a lot, right? That's a
Hmm.
lot of meals already. And I wouldn't go beyond that. Like past that, it gets really like, how much are you making? You know.
Hmm.
Um, but you can kind of figure it out throughout the week. Like as long as you don't have a really terrible schedule.
Hmm.
Um, and I have some thoughts about course schedules and how planning classes too, but we can maybe do that later.
Yeah. No. Tell us about that.
Okay, so my entire first year, because when you're in high school, right? When I was in high school, I was like, you go to class early in the morning every single day, and you're used to it. You're used to going to class at 8 in the morning, and you make it there. I mean, in senior year, maybe some people attendance starts dropping, but you're used to that,
They
right?
don't make it there.
Uh, um, but so when I was in uni, when I was going to uni,
Hmm.
so here you do your course registration in advance and you kind of pick your classes. Like you pick which classes you want to do. And I mean, obviously it's within your major and whatever, but you pick what sometimes there's different timings. You pick the timings and you pick which classes you're elected and so on and so forth, right? Um, and I made this decision. I was like, let me pick basically only 8:30 classes. Okay?
I did the
Because
same.
then it's gonna force me to have a good sleep schedule. It's gonna force me to sleep early, even when there's no one to force me to go to sleep at a reasonable time. That's like good. Honestly, this was a really good idea. Except like
In
in theory,
action
except
though, in action,
in
that's if it's.
action, bro, I just missed so many classes. That's what happened. In reality, because in uni, a lot of the classes they don't check if you show up. They don't care if you show up,
Mhm.
and they'll just post a lecture recording. I don't know. I don't know how this happens, but it just becomes so. I didn't like when people talk about in uni it's so much harder to attend early morning classes. I just thought people were being wusses, bro. I just thought they were like. I just thought
Just
like
wake up.
they were just being lazy. I
Yeah,
thought they were being lazy. It's like just get up, bro. I do it every day. I do it every day for school. Like
yeah.
get over it. No, I don't know what it is. I genuinely don't know what it is. But once you know, you don't have to attend that class, and you could easily make it up. Just one class I'll sleep in. It's shocking how it
Then you're
affects your
done.
motivation. Like you
Yeah,
just can't. It's over.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So
and then of
definitely.
course if you
Oh, sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
and then if you miss just one, then it's like, oh, I missed one and it was fine. So I guess I can miss another, and it's really bad. So
Yeah.
my I would definitely advise what other people say: avoid the morning classes at all costs.
Hmm.
Your attendance will be bad.
Or you never know. Maybe that's something you're already waking up early. Because I have met people who, regardless, they'd still wake up at 7 a.m. because that's just how they are. But I would say a
Maybe.
really good transferable lesson you guys can take away from that is it's really all a domino effect, and because you're by yourself, your motivation is very fragile. So that skipping that one class is going to be tempting, but just know, you know, people have lived life before, they've gone through university before. You know, you're not going to be that one person who only misses one class and then goes right back into it, because when you miss that one class, you're essentially doing a mindset shift, saying that, oh, it's okay if I postpone this. What are you gonna do tomorrow? Postpone again, and then again. So yeah, always be careful about what you're thinking and how it's transferring into your actions. And definitely, you should know that if you were to skip a class, you're not skipping a class. You're skipping a week. Maybe you're skipping 2 weeks. That's what you're really doing. So just be honest with yourself, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah.
It also is compounded by, I think you mentioned transportation earlier, if you want to talk about that.
Hmm.
Um, I don't live near campus. Like I'm in the area, obviously, but I'm a little further away, right? Like I have to take public transport. So for me, right now, it's maybe half an hour, like the whole thing, everything included, from door to the classroom door, something like that, half an hour, right?
Hmm.
Um, Depending on like how far the classes are or whatever, because campuses are surprisingly big. Actually, like it's not just like high school where like you enter
Yeah.
and you know where it's. Sometimes the campuses are really big and it
It's like
takes
a
longer to get
village,
to
kind
certain
of.
places. Yeah, yeah. Um, and So for me, right, if you are not living on campus, as many people are not, like many people are still living with their parents if they're near the university. Sometimes people are going straight to off campus. Um, it's really, I think transportation is something which should not be underestimated. Like I kind of was like, oh, 30 minutes, I can make it work. But it does affect your mode, especially if you have with university course schedules, they're not like high school class schedules where you have all your classes in one day and they're neatly packed out. You can easily have really weird stuff with course scheduling where you'll have one day. On Monday, I have one class from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And then Tuesday, I have a bunch of other like my classes are just stacked then, Tuesdays
Yeah.
and Thursdays or something. Um, one needs to kind of factor that in because that can also be an issue. Like if you're commuting for an hour to attend an hour and a half of class or something, that's not so good. So you kind of have to have a good idea of what the transport is like
Hmm.
and what your comfortability with that is. So for me, I had a really terrible. This is my worst transport experience was here in Montreal. There's like a lot of snow. Obviously, it's like the whole Montreal stereotype that the weather is really cold and whatever. And in the start of halfway through my second semester, I guess, we had like a lot of snow. Right, there's a ton of snow. There's like a whole snowstorm, and the
Yeah.
public transport got cooked. And I had an exam that day, at a midterm, and I thought I could just leave a little bit earlier and I'd still make it. But especially bad weather is something that can really like
Hmm.
it can mess up public transport really bad. I mean, it's common sense. It can mess up transport really bad.
Also, the
But you really
Montreal
need,
roads.
yeah, the Montreal roads were. I was trying to get a bus, and on the way, I could see this guy. I was just seeing cars repeatedly getting like I think multiple cars getting stuck in the snow in the same spot and jamming the road. It was really bad,
Yeah.
and like I ended up missing the midterm basically. Like I wasn't able to show up basically, because it was like it was so bad, the transport situation. Um,
So
and
how
I had
long is
to
that for you? Is that half an hour to get there?
So for me, normally it's just half an hour. But if you have bad transport times, if something goes wrong, maybe that can become an hour. So that day it took. I think I left home at like 7:50, and I arrived on campus at like 9:30 or something. Right?
Hmm.
Like it's if bad weather can really compound the journey. And so if you have an instance where there's going to be a bad weather event, be super prepared
Hmm.
because it can end really, really badly. Um, so that would be my advice to previous me as well. Like, watch out for that.
And would you also say, like, what's the maximum distance? Would you say, would you have gone for like an apartment that's 15 minutes away instead?
50?
Like 15?
15. We actually looked at places near the university,
Hmm.
because I had public transport near me. The reasoning was like, it's further away in terms of time, but the public transport is well connected here, right? Like I live right near. We have a REM line, right? So I live right near one line. There's a bus that goes from like right outside where I am, basically to McGill.
Okay, so it's
So
convenient with
I
the buses.
yeah,
Okay.
but if I was near campus, the amount of time I'd spend walking or something would be pretty similar, uh, right? Just because of how the transport is set up. But yeah, we did look at places near campus. It's just that near campus also you're gonna see prices are higher, right? Obviously in like a downtown area, for like a worse place. So um,
So it's worth
I
it
ended up
kind of to be a little farther away then.
yeah, depending on like what you want and what you need. Like we were looking at a place, like I don't have a roommate right now, but I have a space. This apartment has space for a roommate, right? Um, which is something which I think. So I lived alone, right? Um, and I think there's a really nice aspect to living alone because there's like total, people like go into the desert and stuff for like meditate. You get this, like I don't see it as lonely. Like it's nice having it all to yourself, like having your time to yourself a lot
Hmm.
because you have time to think about everything. Um, but definitely the benefit of having a roommate is that you can split up chores and you have someone to talk to and all that. So, uh, I would, if I had been near campus for how much, for just the price, right? Probably would have been a lot more difficult to get a space that can accommodate a roommate,
Hmm.
right? Because I'm planning on like maybe putting the space up right next year or something, inshallah, for like a roommate to come in and I share it with someone, who potentially like my friends know or something.
Hmm.
But for now, uh,
I'm not sorry to
uh,
interject, but I'm not sure about you, but I'm at Western and they have on Snapchat there's like a 2028 story, and a lot of people just post listings there. So maybe you have a McGill store and you could post it there.
we have I'm not. We might. I'm gonna try to stick to people who I want to try to stick to people who like I know, inshallah, because like I'm worried. There's some people you don't want to live with, and I depending on your values, like a lot of people are like, I really don't want to live with like a big party person, like at all. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's easier to like filter people out if it's like
Okay, so you're just gonna go for people you know better than like yeah, okay.
yeah, or people that like yeah.
Hmm. And
So
what would
yeah.
you say? Or sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. So yeah,
Yeah. What would be if you had any crazy stories from university that were kind of fun that you think the world deserves to know, but you know keep it PG kind of like what are some fun things
yeah,
people
yeah, yeah.
going to uni can expect?
People going to uni. Okay, interesting stuff that's happened. Um, I got into a huge accident, um, like a bike accident, and I had to like deal with that myself, and that was like it's actually pretty terrible. Like I've never been so injured before.
What
I was
happened?
literally on the side of the road, bleeding everywhere. Um, but it was fun. Like low key, as in not fun,
That
but
was
like,
fun.
it wasn't fun. It was a good experience because now like I know what it is. It's like okay, cool, I can survive that. And
Oh, okay.
I had to figure out like how to contact healthcare because it's in French here, and I don't speak fluent French. So I had to figure out what to do about that. I actually called the lady. They have a service where they have like a nurse on dial, and I talked to this nurse. And like a few days afterwards, about my symptoms, do I need to see a doctor or whatever? And they tell you this, right? And at one point, she's like, if you told me right after, I would have said go to a doctor. But like now, you seem fine, so I guess whatever. But you have to like, it was cool to figure out this kind of stuff. I had I also got tear gassed a little bit,
Whoa,
because
whoa, wait. Before we get to that, you're just like stepping it up a notch. But how did you crash into someone? Did you crash into a pool? Like what happened?
so a person, because so basically there's
Oh,
these specialized bike lanes, right? Like a whole separate path for bikes.
yeah.
Um, and so I was biking, right, down this path. and the way it was curved is like there's trees and stuff, and the path
It's a
goes
blind
into
spot.
like a neck of trees, right? So I'm coming out, and it does a whole bend, right?
Hmm.
But because there's so many trees, you can't see around the bend, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I'm going around, and there's two lanes. There's a lane for if you're, right. You go on the right lane if you're whatever, right? I guess. Um, and for some reason, somebody was coming from the other side in the wrong lane. Like they were trying to talk to their boyfriend or their husband or whatever. And so they were taking up both lanes. Like one guy, like he was in the correct lane, and she was like right next to him, parallel to, I guess, talk to him. But she's in the wrong lane. Like she's going in the wrong direction. It's like oncoming traffic, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so I turned the corner, and I'm delayed in my reaction time because like I looked behind me for a second, and then I look in front of me, and I'm like coming head on, and both of us are like trying to stop, but there was no time, and we just crashed head on. Both our bikes got totaled. Like my bike was completely destroyed. Um, her bike was, I think, also destroyed. But the good news is she was not injured. Otherwise, that would have been bad. I'm in trouble,
Yeah.
whatever. Because only I was injured, she couldn't say anything, okay? Because she
Yeah.
feels bad now.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to like deal with like insurance or whatever. Like, but she just like felt bad, whatever, I guess.
So
So I got
it was like this, or was it like into the side, or
no. It
what?
was close to. It was so slightly angled, but close to like head on.
So the bikes
Uh,
jumped a little like that. And you fell like you jumped up.
like she's coming here and I'm coming here, and
And how did
it
you
was not.
fall? Like jumping up, or did you like?
Here's the thing, I didn't fall, okay? What ended up happening is she kept going, right? Because we're going like this, and we
Mhm.
sort of crashed and move away from each other. I kind of like jumped a little bit, I guess. I don't know, but I got hit by her helmet, like her helmet full speed, and it was like a spiky helmet to like stab me in the nose, and then kept going. Um, so I didn't actually like fall over. I just kind of got like jolted, and then like full stop, you know? Um,
Oh, so you didn't fall to the ground. You just got a spiky helmet to your face.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I see. So she kind of like she probably had to do a reflex like this and then unbuck. Okay, I see.
Yeah. So she was fine.
That's a new Mario
But yeah.
Kart weapon right there. Throw your helmet.
I had no helmet. I had no safety gear, so that was uh, but it was a good experience,
You
I
wear
think.
safety gear now, I presume.
I stopped biking, bro. I was so scared after that. I
Oh,
was like, I mean, I'm good. I have to build up the courage for that one again.
yeah. Wow. So,
um,
and then how did you how did you handle that? Being that you're probably shocked and you're far from home. Like you just immediately called the hospital. What do you do?
nah, I just kind of sat there. Somebody came, some nice, like a couple came, and they gave me like some tissues and like water and stuff.
Oh,
They like
that's
So it was,
nice.
I cleaned it up until I was bleeding less, but then I had to like walk home while still like bleeding.
Disoriented,
So
yeah.
it was kind of funny because like I was on my way home and some random guy saw me and I'm like bleeding. And he was like, he figured out it was a bike accident. He was like, was there, he asked me about it and whatever. But it was an interesting walk. And then I walked into the reception and I asked the receptionist, "Yo, he was just sitting there, right, at the front desk." And I was like, "Hey, do you know if there's a pharmacy nearby?" He's like, and then he looks up and he sees me like, "Oh, there's blood everywhere." And he's like, "What happened, bro?" It was a funny happening. It was funny a series of events.
Uh-huh.
So, that was that story.
And you said, you know, I don't mean to jump so quickly, but I just remember you said you got tear gas. Like
Yes.
what?
So basically, what happened was, uh, basically there was a protest. It was one of the
Hmm.
Palestine protests, right?
Hmm.
And the school got shut down actually over this because there's like I won't get into the McGill lore, okay? But anyway, there's there are multiple groups protesting, okay? And one of them is some of them are more reasonable than others, and some of them are a lot more radical than others. Let's
You
put it
got
that way,
attacked
right?
by a protest group?
No, I did not get attacked by a
Oh.
protest group. Okay, I wanted to go to. I knew some people. They had like a reasonable, very chill protest. I wanted to go there, and I accidentally went to the wrong one. Like me and my friend went to the wrong one by accident,
Uh-huh.
and the we got tear gassed because they were trying to tear gas the people there, and we were like by accident. Like we're also there, and then we're like we kind of realized, wait, this is the wrong protest. And by then it's too late, and they're like tear gassing. They're like launching tear gas grenades and stuff, whatever.
This
Like
was
the
allowed at
police.
McGill.
This was allowed at McGill.
Yeah.
Like the police just came and they did their thing, and the crowd dispersed. I guess I don't know.
Okay, I was
Um,
like, that would have been crazy if that was just casually happening, just casually throwing tear gas bombs.
it was like on campus actually, like or close to campus. But
Wow.
the police did it. Like the police launched some, and the thing is, it goes really far. Like they
They
actually
launched
launched it
stuff. The
onto like
police launched it.
yeah, the police,
Oh, I
because they
thought the
wanted like the
students did it.
no, that's
Oh,
crazy.
okay, okay.
The police did, and
Huh.
they launched it onto like a building actually. Like they launched multiple, but the one that got me was like one they launched like onto a building, and the fumes came like all the way down. And it was and I didn't know how bad tear gas is, bro, but you like get fully watery and everything. And then I had to go home, and classes were canceled that day because they knew a bunch of people were protesting and it was going to be bad for like going to campus. But I had an exam that day, so I had to get tear gas and then go home and sit a bio exam. It was like a full day
So
of
for
stuff.
someone who's never been tear gassed before, what does that feel like?
It's I only got like a little bit though. Like I just got a whiff and it was
Okay.
pretty bad, right? Like I just got like a little bit that was trailing off the end. It was pretty bad. So I would give it a very big thumbs down, and I would recommend avoiding tear gas. I
Yeah.
don't think it's good. I don't think it's a good experience. I would not recommend.
If you guys take any takeaway, don't get tear gassed. Drop a like if you don't want to get tear gassed. Um, we're gonna
Yeah.
see 100 dislikes because everyone wants to be tear gassed. But yeah, that's crazy. I thought, well, okay, I thought it was like thrown at you, so it was just by accident. Okay, yeah,
They threw it in the general area, so it was intended for like everybody who's there, basically, to
uh
like they
huh,
want everybody to leave, so they
yeah.
just launched it, and then the riot police started charging people down. Actually, it was kind of crazy because on a hill, and then like
That's cinematic.
no, they shot the tear gas, and then we're like on a hill, right? And they just started full riot gear, sprinting at people, chasing them down the hill. Like I think just to scare them and make them like to chase them down to make them leave.
Oh,
But they're fully like chasing after people. It was like Loki kind of crazy.
yeah, those cops were having some fun, definitely. Imagine they're just kind of like they got the call to stop this protest. They're like, "Yep, you know what that means? Get the bombs, get the armored shields."
It was actually full armored shield. Like I don't remember exactly. Maybe I'm remembering wrong and they didn't. But all I remember is these guys in the full black gear, just chasing people down. Uh,
Oh wow, that would have been a great clip, but I don't think anyone's got any footage of that.
there might be. I don't know. I actually don't think there's footage of it. I don't think there's footage that you can find online. But maybe you can. Maybe you can. You never. There are like a ton of people there. They're like easily like 1,000 or something people there. Maybe so. At
Yeah,
least hundreds. So there's a chance.
yeah, for sure. And before I go into the final question that I ask at the end of every podcast, is there anything else you would like to add that you think would be important for viewers to know about university in general or just moving in? Is there anything else you'd like to add?
We talked about transport. We talked about cooking and cleaning, which our only advice is the obvious one of be responsible with that, is then don't fall behind. We talked about not doing morning classes, which is important. I cannot stress this. Don't do
Depends on the
morning
person, though.
classes.
Depends on the person.
Depends on the person. But if
Yeah.
you're like someone who thinks you can do it,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't normally stay away.
Here's a good tactic. During summer vacation or the weekends, look when you wake up, and that's going to be more realistic.
That's probably a good. Yeah, you can do a bit earlier. Like if you're somebody who wakes up super late, you can probably do earlier. But
Hmm.
what else was there? We did classes. We did no skip.
Transportation.
Something that I think is really important is office hours, and it's
Hmm.
something which
Oh.
that people completely. I've noticed people completely neglect office hours,
Hmm.
and I think that's a real shame. Especially math classes.
Yeah.
I found they have really great TAs that
Hmm.
they'll set up office hours, and often and people just don't show up. And if you do show up, you can get a lot of really personalized help to understand the content. Like they are so useful, and it's really sad because I know people like I'll know people in my classes. Let's say right like at Calc 2. Calc 2 was not an easy class for a lot of people, obviously, and but nobody was showing up to office hours. In fact, we had another class which is like it's a discrete math class, and it's like known. This specific class is like a really hard class in McGill, but people have to do it for like computer science,
Hmm.
I think. And I was in this class, and one of the office hours had to get canceled at one point because nobody was showing up, and it's like that's such a shame because people don't really understand, I think, how beneficial they are. Like if you have any question, any practice question, you don't understand anything, you have TAs that are just there and they'll help you through all of it. Like they have nothing better to do, or they have the time, right? So
For sure,
that's another.
that's a hidden gem, and no one's taking advantage of it, right? So it's super personalized when you go.
Yeah, the worst I've ever seen is two other people there with me for office hours or something.
Hmm.
If it's like just with a TA, people don't show up, and you can get like that's probably the big secret, the biggest like hidden advice, right? That I have is office hours. Go to office hours. Go to the TA meetings.
For sure.
Uh, really good.
And it doesn't even matter if there will be other people there because then if there are, just listen to the questions they're asking because you never know. Maybe that was one of yours.
Yeah, and they're really useful, and people don't take advantage of them. So that's something I would recommend. And other than that, really, just study. Like,
That's all you gotta do.
just
That's all you
study,
got.
guys.
Telling a university
Um,
student how to do university. Go to class and study. How does a university student react? No, no.
no, but they actually don't.
Yeah,
But
I don't
people
know.
don't.
What are you doing there?
People like first year classes, I think people do not take them seriously.
Hmm.
And I had one class, for example. I know some people are gonna just naturally struggle with some subjects and whatever, but I had one class that I had to do, and I really didn't understand the level to which a lot of people were struggling, because the course content, like the exam that he gave us, well, both professors we got, were virtually identical to the practice. Like if
Oh
you
wow.
with and the like they would give us questions on the exam that are literally like practice with different numbers or
Hmm.
very slightly different. We've seen the full solutions and breakdown of how to solve these questions. If you just really you should just study for it. Like I
Hmm.
don't, but I think a lot of people get when you have the freedom in university to do what you want. A lot of people get into like partying and stuff, and I don't think it ends well for a lot of people. So
Hmm.
somebody once told me when I was first, like, I was getting a tour of the university when I first came here, and somebody's like, "Oh, first 6 months it's okay, but don't go beyond that. Don't go even do the first 6 months, bro. Just keep a level head and stay away from this stuff, and have a good mind, like a healthy
Hmm.
mindset to how you approach classes, because
It
that's really the
compounds.
best way to do it." So that's what I'd say. I'd say actually study. Generic advice, but it's not like people don't, and
Yeah,
it's easy to
that's what's
fall behind in
shocking.
classes.
No one's doing that. It's so obvious.
Pardon?
That's what's shocking. No one's doing it, and it's like the most obvious thing.
The only other thing I have. Do I have anything else? Is some some great ways to meet people.
Hmm. Yeah,
It's hard
sure.
to meet people sometimes in uni, uh, and if you have lectures, don't really bet on meeting people through lectures, because you might sit next to somebody for one lecture, right? In these big lecture halls,
And they
maybe you'll
move.
meet someone, get a few good words, and then you sit somewhere else, and like you never talk to this person really again. Lectures are a really terrible way to meet people, and I do not think you should bet on those as a way to meet people.
Yeah,
But what I found really useful was like if you have a class that has a lab component, like if you're in science and
there's
there's
more
like a
talking there.
lab.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because you get to actually talk to people, right?
Hmm.
So a lab is probably great. Anything with just the generic lecture format is not a good way to meet people. It's not
Hmm.
like high school or school in general where you can meet people just through classes
Hmm.
if it's a standard lecture, because nobody's talking. Like you can't meet people that way. And other
Hmm.
than that, the generic advice of clubs and whatever is important. But definitely look to see if you can if you have a class with the lab component, make sure to meet people there, because that's a really good way to make friends.
Yeah, and also I have a good example for that. Shout out Hafiz if you're watching this, but I made a good friend in university who the first time we went to the gym together within on the first week. At this time, I was a bit more introverted and shy, and this is this like the secret sauce that he did, and it like completely evolved me. He said, Thomas, we're not leaving this gym till we both meet 5 new people. We get 5 new contacts. And I sort of laughed it off. I'm like, oh, just let me hit my set, bro. Let me hit my set. And then I saw he just went so easily and casually. He just went to some random guy and then asked for tips for like how he's benching so much. And then he went up to some random girl and asked tips. It's like if I could give one piece of advice, it's so much easier than you make it out to be because at the end of the day, like we're all human, so there's something to get out of everyone. So then after that, once you realize it can be done, and you surround yourself with people that you realize it can be done, then it was so much easier. Then we both got 5. We're business students, so we're always on the LinkedIn grind. So then we got 5 LinkedIn connections, finished the workout, and then we headed out. So yeah, I'd strongly advise pick a good friend who can hold you accountable and go to the gym within the first week and don't leave till you get 5 new contacts. Worked for me.
That's an interesting advice, bro.
Yeah.
Like, low-key though, I feel like some of those people, that it's the intro that got them. How do you bench so much, bro?
Yeah.
That he's gonna want to talk to you. It's
Yeah.
gonna be
They're
just
gonna be like,
flattered. Yeah, exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
And just realize that when you're socializing with other people, it's also their first year, so they're going to want to be socializing too. And also, the faster you go and socialize, the easier it's going to be for you. Because from the very start of it, almost no one knows each other. Like you're coming from a different province, other people are probably coming from different areas in Quebec or wherever you're going. So the faster you start talking to people, the more receptive you be. Because as time goes on, then that's when like the groups start forming and everything. So you really have to take in that initiative and be really fast because the longer you wait, that cold water is just gonna turn like freezing. So yeah, the fastest you can talk to someone, go ahead. Um, and yeah, that's what I would say. Just keep shooting your shots. I've said this on my episode with Rio, my 11th episode, I believe it was. If you start 1,000 businesses and only one succeeds, no one cares that you have a less than 1% success rate if you have a multi-billion-dollar business that's working successful. So the percentages and all that, like your success rate, like it's not that deep. Just go speak to new people and you'll be fine.
no, yeah, no, you're right. Actually, this is like low-key inspiring actually because my friend and I, we made like we tried to do a business earlier and then like it didn't work out in the end. Maybe you gotta try something again.
Yeah, you only need it's not like a test where you need like a 90 to get a good grade. You just need one business, that's all. Like,
Yeah, no, exactly.
yeah.
Roast cooking.
Yeah, that's some cooking right there. All right. Are you ready for the spicy question that I ask at the end of every podcast now?
Got you. Go.
Alrighty.
Got you, bro.
Or my cat's actually approaching me. Maybe we'll get her in frame. You see if I can snatch her. This will give you some motivation.
Oh, you have an orange cat, bro.
Yeah, she's crazy. Look, she's already going crazy.
What a cutie patootie.
Yeah, she was just coming to say hi. Um, yeah. Anyways, I got a little distracted by the cat. But here's the question. I hyped it up to be such a big question. I'm like, ooh, like a cat. But yeah. So, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. You sure?
You want me to like look fancy too? I have this empty cup, look professional. Like,
Yeah. If you could distill your biggest philosophical philosophical take to anybody in the world, what would you tell them? Has to be life changing, world bending. But here's the catch: you can only say one word. So, in one word, what do you want to tell the world?
What kind of like hard question is this, bro? Okay, let me think. Let me think. Uh, one word.
Just one word
Damn.
if you want, like anyone other than don't get tear gassed. In just one word, you want like real life changing advice. What would you want? And it could be very simple. One person said faith. It could be more
Vape.
faith. No, faith. No, one person said faith, and then another person said unique, and then delved into that. So it could really be as simple or as nuanced as you want. So if you want to tell the world your greatest life take in one word, what would you say to like benefit
I
them?
think submission. I think yeah, it's on the topic of faith. I think you gotta submit to God. I think that's like the most life
Submission.
changing thing that people could do. Um, cause yeah, that's my take. Submission.
Hmm. Submission. That's valid because then with all that, it's it's a wonder how many great stuff that can give you. And I know you yourself are good at practicing. And like you were actually telling me before this, like you have the scheduled prayer time. So I definitely agree. Submitting yourself to God can go a long way. And who knows, maybe it'd be useful if you're going out and into a new world completely by yourself. Who better to help you than the man who like created you before you were born?
And I think in uni, I think in McGill, you kind of notice what people are missing it. Because people, if you don't, if people go to a lot of unhealthy alternatives, the drinking age is lower here. So you see it and you're like, I think I made the right call. When you see other
Yeah,
people like collapsing into stuff, you feel like this is the right call.
exactly. Just as you mentioned earlier, if you're not submitting yourself, then you'll find yourself have that one tempting thought, don't go to class tomorrow. It's never that small. It's always much faster. Yeah. All right, everybody. That was Mikael. Pleasure to have you on. Yeah.
Thank you.
Till next time.
Pleasure to be here.